What is going on, boys and girls of YouTube? Today we are knocking out top 5 videos. Getting back into that grind. We're starting season 6. I've got the information that you need, that I want you to have. And we're going to start out with junglers, top 5 junglers, and I can make my way through all the roles. Not only do I usually do that, but now I actually, with the new system, have to play all the roles and end up needing to know the information for myself. So there is that. So I'm going to go over the gods, some of the matchups they're good into, some of the matchups they're bad into, their builds, how I level up their abilities right now, and just what you should be playing. If you're a new player, this will apply to you as like the top junglers in the game. Maybe not necessarily the easiest. In the case of junglers, though, the number one jungler is also the new my recommendation to new players. So there is that. All right, guys. Before we get too deep into this, today's video is sponsored and brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends. Now, before I pitch you the game and explain why you are going to want to play it, I want you to know that I have been playing the game. I haven't been feeling well the last few days, and I've been playing the game. I really do like it. I'm gonna be able to play with you guys within the game, which I think is really cool. We'll talk about that in a second, a little bit more. I just want you to know I am playing the game. I'm not just pitching you this for you to see. I like it. I want you to play it with me. I want you guys to enjoy yourselves, and I think you will enjoy this game. Now, Raid Shadow Legends is easily the most ambitious RPG project of 2019. You're really only going to compare this to other console, big console, and PC games. It is ridiculously immersive for a smartphone game. Now, the game has a ton of features. It is free to play, which is huge. You're going to be able to go into the game and see ridiculous 3D graphics. You're going to be able to do dungeon fighting. There's a cool campaign and storyline. You'll be able to get into that campaign, play through it. There's clan fighting. There's PvP. There's hundreds of champions that are customizable, and you can add items and mess with their spells and their abilities. And it's really, really cool. There's just so much stuff going on. I feel like every step of the way, every time I get on the game, I'm doing something that I wasn't doing before. And I really, really like that. Now, as I said, there's hundreds of champions. Now, I'll show you what I've been running, and we'll get into a couple more of the other ones. So I've been running Gaelic, I've been running War Priest, I've been running Skink, and I've been running Magister. My Gaelic is my highest level, and you can see he's pretty decked out item-wise. Now, there are just so many more. I just unlocked him. I just unlocked Gator. I just unlocked Marked. And we'll go ahead and go over to the index real quick, see if we can't find some of the really high level stuff. I haven't gotten to that yet. I really do actually want to get to that stuff because it looks pretty cool. So we'll go to Skinwalkers. I haven't actually looked at this yet. We'll look up a defense guy now, and then we'll check an attack guy in a second. So this is War Chief. And he looks pretty freaking beefy, dude. He's a legendary champion. There's just so much stuff. We'll go to an attack guy. Fu Shan. This is a legendary. Oh my gosh. Okay, he looks freaking sick. He actually looks pretty freaking cool. Okay, so as you can see, there are a ridiculous amount of champions in the game. There's so much for you to get into. The game is getting big very, very fast, so you want to get in early. Starting now, you'll get a big head start if you get in the game. There's a special launch tournament coming up with crazy in-game prizes, and there's real life physical prizes. If you're doing well, you can get them. Now, I know you're going to get the game, so once you do, please don't forget to join my clan. My clan is Weekend, WEAK3N, with the tag Week. Doing that, I'll be able to play with you. We'll be able to do stuff together. Drop your name in the comments or come into my stream and talk to me about it if you are playing the game. Tell me what you think, and I want to know who you are when I see you log in and you're in the clan. So go to the description below. Use my links to download the game. There's an iOS link and an Android link. It'll get you 50,000 silver immediately, which will help you get going really fast in the game. And it'll also get you a free epic champion, which is awesome to start with. And that's all part of the new player program, courtesy of the dev team. I will see you guys on the game. Number 5, or the last on the list, I'm working my way from 5 to number 1. Number 5 on the list is going to be a little surprising. It's Mercury. So, just before we actually get into him, if you look over the jungler list, there aren't that many junglers that are really commonly played and just do well consistently. Gods like Bakasura in the lower levels will get seen a little bit, but the higher at all levels, amongst all the levels into competitive, Mercury seems to be like, for me, that at number 5, that hard number 5. And it's strange too because he saw the nerf after Golden Blade was basically taken off of his 1. They made speed not have the same movement speed on it, which is a little bit strange. But he's still just really successful right now. I honestly don't know what to contribute it to, other than the fact that with the current pathing and the ability to clear fast, still, even without Golden Blade, just the ability to get around the map. It's just going a long way in the current meta. So, number 5 on my list, Mercury. Ability wise, or sorry, yeah, we'll go over abilities. Ability wise, I max the 1. I then usually max the 2. So just on the start, it's gonna be 1, 3, 1, 2, ult. I max the 1 when I can, max the 2 when I can, and then outside of that, it's I guess up to you. I like to max the ult mainly because when I am ulting, the jump in damage is gonna go from 200 to 500 at max rank. Obviously, 500 plus the 100% scaling. It's gonna hit pretty hard, and it's a nice addition because on a lot of gods like Thor, you use the movement on Thor ult just to get into the fight, right? For the CC and to get into the ult. For Mercury, it is a CC. It is to get into the fight. Sorry, I said get into the ult. Get into the fight. But it is that damage because you're trying to one-shot the person you're going on usually with your crits right after. So getting that extra damage is nice. So I max out the ult next and then max out the 3 because your 3 is a little back and forth and not always used for damage. There's the ability build. Item wise, we're going into your warrior tabby still. Then with the nerf to golden blade, some people still build it. I don't really know why. I'm going into stone cutting, and then I'm going into normal crit build. My normal crit build. You've got rage. You have deathbringer. A lot of people really like blood forge here. It makes you lack on pen outside of the stone cutting sword. You can live without it. You don't need it. I either go blood forge or Aussie. I go back and forth. Blood forge though is very, very strong because of the high power. And then after that, you're looking at penetration. Your penetration actually can go either way. If they have a lot of physical defense, obviously you want to get Titan's Bane or you're having to kill the frontline Titan's Bane. This can be a Brawlers though, because your 1 can now apply Brawlers. Plus, late game, you're going to be able to sell the boots, buy the movement speed pot, and buy another pen item if you want, or another crit item. All up to you. I think ideally this is my core build. And then late game, I'm selling boots and I'm buying another crit item just because it gives you more opportunity to get those insta kills off and play the game around that. So here's full build once you can sell boots. And it's just pretty basic. In terms of who Mercury is good against, the gods that have some kind of lockdown, he actually ends up doing very well against because he's playing so far back in team fights and you're ulting through the team fights. The junglers, the enemy junglers usually aren't going to be in your face. So gods like Nagi, gods that are going to be ulting, CCing. First of all, Mercury can ult out of the Nagi ult and not get hit by it. Plus, you're very rarely in range of Nagi being able to do that, as well as your early clear is a lot better than gods like Nagi. It's a lot better than gods like Hawelix, Hunbats, even Ravana. You do very, very well into a lot of these gods. The gods you're going to worry about in terms of jungling are going to be the fast early clear and the high early pressure because Mercury doesn't have that. It's not in his kit. So gods like Rat, Naja, even Serket can be kind of annoying into Mercury. Just not the end of the world. I wouldn't worry too much about your counter matchups and what you're playing against when playing Mercury. If you just play the right playstyle, you'll be fine. You'll be good to go. That is number 5 on our list. Number 4 on our list is still an assassin. It's going to be Nagi, since we were just talking about her. In the current meta, Nagi is fucking killing it. Not only are a lot of gods with 0 CC immunity in their kit really popular right now, she just hits so fucking hard with the items in the game. You rush into Crusher and Hydras, or you rush into Transcendence and Crusher. Really, whatever you want. I like going Crusher and Hydras. You just hit so fucking hard with the combos on her. It is ridiculous. 3 auto, 1 auto. You're literally just destroying everybody. So she's doing really well right now. Definitely a guy to be looking at. She's number 4 on my list. Ability wise, I start with the 2. Level the 1, level the 3, go to the 2 again, then level the ult, and then I do not level the 2 for the rest of the game. Well, until later, not the rest of the game. That's wrong. I then level the 1 whenever I get the chance. I max it. I then max the 2 whenever I get the chance. I then max the 3 whenever I get the chance, and then I max the ult. So your ult is going to do a decent amount of damage because you got 3 shots. You can actually fucking kill people with it and do good damage. But ideally, you're going to want to level the 3 because the 3 does hit hard, and it is an ability you are using in almost every combo on somebody unless you're blinking, because the ability isn't really used for escaping. It's more of used as an engage because you can engage with it, use your full combo, and then ult up in the air and be safe for that long. That is another reason she is so strong. She has the safety of, I'm going to set up in my ult while the rest of my team fucks around with you guys. You can't just sit here and wait for me to come down. And that's really good in team fights late game. Now, god she's good into, any god that doesn't have a CC immune ult. Every single one. Nemesis. Realistically, even a god like Naja, because if you're forcing Naja to ult out, you pretty much win the team fight. So a god like Naja, Susano, Serket, Hunbads, the list fucking goes on. Wheelix, it goes on for a very long time. There are a lot of gods, and then it branches out a lot more into. This is one of the junglers that branches out into other matchups. If you see a mid laner that has low mobility and no CC immune all, or just one or the other, then you're gonna fucking kill him. Agni, you can destroy Agni because no CC immunity. Pwash, no mobility and no CC immunity. So you've got a lot. Merlin is one of the gods you actually do very, very well against. Not only because you can't be knocked up when he stance changes, if he goes into Arcane or out of Arcane, because of your 2. He's just very easy to sit on, very easy to hit your ults on, very easy to kill instantly, and that's something to be thinking about when picking Nagi and looking at the enemy team's comp. Gods to worry about. Anything with CC immunity is not necessarily your best matchup. So something like Ravana, where Ravana has an ult to get out of your ult and the immunity on the 2, you're going to be wasting your ult anytime you use it on him. Now, granted, you can focus on other people. That's just something to think about in terms of junglers. Once again, anything with CC immune ult, Ratatoskr, Mercury, those gods can really get out of your shit super easy. So it's fine to pick Dodgy into those gods if you're more focused on the counter matchup into somebody else. So if they have the Merlin, they have China, Vulcan, or just somebody that you can pull consistently or burn beats consistently, then it's fine. But if they have a Raijin, or they have a Ra, or they have a Janice, and they also have the Ravana, you're not going to be doing a lot in that matchup, that mid jungle matchup. So it's something just to remember when playing and picking your gods. So Nagi, number 4 on our list. Number 3 on our list is, oddly enough, Mage. It is Ao Kuang. Ao Kuang has been killing it so far this split. Very common theme, though, for the god at the start of every year. Very, very strong. Does well for the first 2 months and then slowly falls off. It's a mix of people remembering how to play against the god. Sometimes the god gets nerfed or an item gets nerfed. But right now, he is fucking killing it in ranked, and I really like having him on my team. This is not the build, though, strangely enough. We'll go over the abilities first. I level my 3 first. I usually level my 1 just to be safe. Now, if you know you're going to be able to fight into the 2v2, so you and your mid are going to be able to beat their jungle, it's okay to go the 2 here instead of the 1. I do this a lot because I just like fighting early. Then I'm going to level the 3 or the 1 just to be safe, maxing the 3 whenever possible. Maxing the 2 outside of that. Boom, boom, boom. Maxing the 1 next, and then maxing the ult. And you're good to go. Item-wise, very basic mix of 2 builds that have been really prominent right now. You got Shoes of the Magi. I then go into a Bancross. I then go into attack speed. I grab 2 attack speed items. I like Demonic. And then I like to get Telkine's Ring. You do not need Fatalis at any point in time because you attack so fast and you do have the mobility. You have the slow. You have the range damage. You do not need to go any more of the items outside of this. So with this, you've got Power and Pen, Power and Lifesteal, Power and Pen and attack speed, Power, attack speed, and extra damage. And then you're looking at what else do I need in the kit. I really like to pair Typhon's Fang with this because usually they're not going to build anti-heal against an Ao Kuang. In lower levels, they never will because they don't think about builds. And this is actually going to give you a shit ton of power. So at this point in your build, you are sitting at, where is it? I can't fucking see. Am I missing something? I'm trying to find the magical power. I might be blind right now. I was really sick last night, so maybe I'm blind right now, but I don't see it. Nothing is changing on the stats board here, which is very, very strange. I'm just gonna, let's pretend that didn't happen. So anyway, with this build, you'll be sitting at, let's just go with the double lifesteal items. Let's just minimize the amount of work that you're actually doing here. So with Bancross Talon, you have 100 power and 15% magical lifesteal. It then scales up to more power when you're missing health. We're going to forget that passive right now. We're just going to pretend you're full health. With Typhon's Fang, he gives you 80 power flat, 15% lifesteal, and then your healing obtained from magical lifesteal is increased by 40%. So you heal more from your lifesteal in general. You just heal more. And then your magical power is increased by twice the amount of magical lifesteal you have. So with just these 2 items and no anything else, you are sitting at 30% magical lifesteal. Multiply that by 2. That's 60 damage. That's 60 power is what this is additionally giving you. So with these 2 items, you have 100 power, 80 power, and then the passive gives you 60 more. So Typhon's Fang actually has 140 power on it. So with just these 2 items, you're sitting on 240 power. And I feel like that's super underrated. I really enjoy building it. Plus the double lifesteal, you can pretty much 1v1 anyone in the game. and that's something you play around a lot, very, very consistently. And then finally in the build, you can finish up with more pen if they are super tanky. Grab a Spear of the Magus, gives you a fuck ton of flat pen, which will shred targets, or just go for more power, which is usually the route I go. I'll pick up a Ratatouille, and that'll be my full build. It's a lot of power in this build. Like, it is a whole lot of power. I'm also kind of annoyed that I think I'm just not using my brain right now. Kind of annoyed I can't see the amount of power, but whatever. That's my outgoing build. Matchups wise, pretty much fine to pick into anything. I personally like playing Ao Kuang into junglers like Erlang Shen, into anything I can just sit there and out auto attack and out trade very easily, especially in the later game once you have lifesteal. Gods I like to avoid are Naja and Circuit. Pretty much get away from everything. Good matchup for you, a really strong matchup is Hunbats, because with the ping in the game, you can always one out of a Hunbats ult as long as you're not caught in any other animations. Quang honestly is just a fairly safe god. You're looking to engage on the back line after the fights have started and just blow somebody up. That's what you're doing. Anything without CC immune ults is going to be extra for you, because then they have to use beads to get out of your ult, or you can just keep track of their beads timer and kill them anytime that's down. Next up on the list is our number 2. It shouldn't be, these last two shouldn't really be a surprise. It's Pele. Pele has been fucking killing it. They nerf her, but it's not really a real nerf. In lower end ranked, and in ranked in general, you're seeing Pele just fucking be consistently very, very strong. So don't be surprised to play against her, and don't be surprised to want to play her. I max the 1. I then usually go the 2 so I can blink and fight in the mid lane whenever I want to. Level the 3 for a little bit of movement. Like I said, max. Dog's going crazy, dude. Max the 1, sorry about that, whenever possible. Max the 2 after that whenever possible, because of the range of the knockup. It's really important. Then I max the ult because the damage is insane. And then you're maxing the 3 whenever possible. Just remember that your ult hits for 520 plus 6% scaling. So it's hitting for like 700-800 plus the auto attacks, which are going to do 260 plus 40% scaling on each auto. So this ability is doing a ridiculous amount of damage. Like, you're looking at 700 burst into another 600-700 damage off of auto attack. 1400 damage on a god with a CC immunity in the ult and the movement in the ult. It's crazy. Does a lot of damage, straight up. Items wise, just basic builds. When I say basic builds, there are 3 real builds I use depending on the god. You've got gods that use auto attacks or crit. Those can vary slightly. Then you've got gods that go full pen power, and then you've got gods that do a hybrid of pen power, a little bit of defense. So Pele can do either the pen power build or the hybrid build. Pen power build, you're going to rush into Crusher, if I can find it. So you're going to rush into Crusher. You're then going to go into, I personally like to go Brawlers. You can go whatever it is that you want to go. So Brawlers is what I like to pick up. I then usually go one hybrid build, one hybrid item, just to stay a little bit tankier and be able to do whatever I want in the team fights. Like I said, changes game to game, however you really want to play it. If you're going for more raw power, you can pick up a Transcendence to get a little bit of CDR. You don't need CDR on this god, oddly enough, which you'd feel like his ability base, he has to. He just has she has to. She just has so many spammable abilities that you don't need it. But just for the sake of things, I'm actually going to go Bloodforge. I find diving and killing people is not hard. It's then living after you dive them. So the Bloodforge adds to that. Finish the build off with more pen and get yourself a Titan's Bane. Now this is your, I want to do all the damage in the world. I want to carry. I want to one-shot people build, right? So then your second build is still going to be Warrior. Oops, those are not Warrior Tabby Boots. So you're going to go Warrior Tabby Boots, and then it's going to be more hybrid. Assuming they do have a magical mid, especially if they have a magical mid and a magical jungler, you are going to go ahead and get an Onsile. You are then going to go ahead and get yourself a Void Shield, and you're just going to continue on the path of health and hybrid and defense and all that stuff. I really, really like Blackthorn Hammer. It's strange, but it goes a long fucking way. I then ran out the build with a Magi's Cloak, and then I finish it out with a Titan's Bane to get a little bit more pen. So you've got a little bit of pen and all that stuff. Late game, you can change it out. This is an extreme hybrid build, right? Like, this is pure, like, I'm not necessarily just going to one-shot people, but I'm still going to do a lot of damage in the team fights, but not die. You pull out 20% CDR, so you're more spammy and annoying rather than one-shotty. And then late game, you can sell Onsile for Spirit Robe or whatever. You do drop power for that. Just kind of the trade-off, what you're looking at. Those are my Pele builds. They can change however you want. You don't have to have a Blood Forge in the other Pele build. That could be all the maces. You can go Jotuns. Jotuns is really strong on Pele. It's just not necessary. And I don't feel the need to tell you to build it because it's just a core item on most gods when you're just trying to spam your abilities. Like I said, on Pele, it's not core for the traditional, I'm going to one-shot you style, which is what Pele does. But if you do like to just spam and be more annoying and able to fight over and over and over again with your abilities rather than your positioning and your targeting, that's fine. Go for it. All you. Matchups wise, anything that can be knocked up, you're good into. Anything you can't knock up might be something that can be more frustrating. I personally like to play other one-shot gods into Pele. So if there's a Pele, I might play, say, Nemesis and ult to Pele, make her knock me up, and then pop my shield after the knock up so she can't fucking one-shot me and I can actually out-damage her. Gods like Thor, who can just spin on the Pele and not be knocked up. Mercury can dash out of the knock-up, so you're never going to get CC'd. Nagi can also not be knocked up. So those are 3 gods that I personally play into Nagi with the different styles. They don't necessarily have one play style. Nagi kind of turns it and just fights into the Pele. Thor kind of just spins on the Pele and sees that the trade is going in his favor. And then Mercury is just going for the dash out and then the re-engage. Really, Pele's biggest counter would be anti-heal because you rely a lot on that passive to proc in some team fights when you're diving. So really pay attention to who has anti-heal and how much healing you are going to have based around that. Then finally, on our list of top 5 junglers, it's going to be Ratatowski. Should not be a surprise at all. You don't have to do his wonky start at the beginning. He's just easily the cleanest, best jungler right now in the game. I start off with my 2, then I go my 3, then my 1. I max my 2 whenever possible. Max my 3 after that whenever possible. I max my 1 after that whenever possible. And then I max my ultimate. That's the abilities. Item-wise, you're going your Acorn every time, 100%. And then you've got 2 builds. You've got Hybrid and you have Damage, or you can mix the 2 however you want. So I like to go Jotun's Wrath to spam my ultimate a little bit more, and then grab a Crusher. I then might grab a Brawlers. This is going to give you a fucking shit ton of pen when comboed with the 2. I then almost always grab one defensive item, which is a Magi's or more CDR. I'll get the Spirit Robe or the Mantle. Usually the Mantle. If you're not going to go Magi's, Mantle is really strong. If you have Magi's, Spirit is then really strong to combo with it. And then round the build off with, I want to say, round it off with Titan's Bane because that's just traditional and that's going to allow you to kill tanks. You are going to fucking just have ridiculous amounts of pen and shred with this build. But this is just another time where if you're diving a lot and you are carrying in your rank game, look at grabbing that Blood Forge, man. Think about it. It's a lot of power. The lifesteal really doesn't matter. It's more of the power and the passive of giving or getting that shield and just living even longer in those team fights. Because you are looking to one-shot somebody with a rat dive, especially with this build. Now we're going to go ahead and wipe these off, and we're going to look at hybrid build. So you're going to rush into, it's going to be similar. Void Shield is going to give you a ridiculous amount of pen because you've got the Aura pen and you've got the Flurry pen shred, right? So your 2 is shredding protections. If you didn't know, it does. So anyone that you are killing with any physical dealing god on your team, you're going to basically be doing true damage early or doing near true damage. And that is something that is a very, very underrated and not thought about. Next up is pretty traditional. Another item I pick up every time I say hybrid is going to be your on-style. And then I like to go for health, but it's the Rune Forge this time. Then you can actually double up on the health and get a Blackthorn because you'll be sitting on 20% CDR. You'll be sitting on a fucking shit ton of HP. Like just a ridiculous amount of HP with these items. On-style not giving it to you, but Void Shield, Rune Forge, and Blackthorn. And then I will usually round it out with Pen. Not necessary though. If you're dying still or you're not just being smooth in your game, go ahead and grab the Magi's Cloak or grab the Mantle. Usually the Mantle's better here because of the CDR. Late game, you can sell the Acorn and grab the pen you wanted, or if you can't afford the pen, it's just not working in your build, it's not working in the gameplay, get even more defense. Magi's would be great, even with the Mantle. If you know you're going to go Magi's, maybe go Magi's Heal and pick up a Spirit over the Acorn because you can sell Acorn now, if you didn't know. Then matchups wise, there are no really bad matchups for Rat right now. That's one thing that is actually scary. There's nothing that you pick into where you're like, I'm gonna get fucked in terms of junglers. When you look at mages, it's kind of the same. There's gonna be some gods you dive easier than others. Personally, Raijin can be very annoying if the Raijin is positioning perfectly. But outside of that, you can still kill Raijin, you can kill Merlin, you can kill pretty much anybody. When you're going the hybrid build, you don't really have to worry too much about your positioning, and if you dive too deep, you're pretty safe still. Just something that you don't have to think about. You don't have to worry about your positioning when you go the hybrid rat build. It's just crazy to think you're a jungler in a rank game and your positioning isn't as important because of your build. You just won't die. You'll be fine. You'll be good to go. Your targeting obviously will be important because it'll help you kill your teammates. With the hybrid build, go a lot farther when you're fighting with your teammates. It's a lot easier to kill somebody instantly with your teammates and the hybrid build than if you were to go the insta kill build and dive somebody by yourself. There is our top 5 junglers video. Now, as I said at the beginning of the video, the link to check out the game is below. Hopefully you guys like the video. I'll be dropping more of these very consistently and more of these guides and more of this information as much as possible. If you guys want it, hit the like button. If you want to keep getting this information, since you're probably not subscribed, I don't know why you're not, but you aren't, you should hit the subscribe button so you're ready to get the content the second it comes out. Just hit the subscribe button right now. Tap it. If you're already subscribed, don't tap it. Stay away from it. Keep it subscribed.